Hey there, Taurus. It's time to have a look and see what is going on with this new moon in Capricorn and the 2 weeks following. Yes, we have decided to actually step into the biweekly territory following the lunations. And so I hope you enjoy it. I am bringing back astrology. We're going to be talking about, of course, the new moon and what it's doing and how that's going to be affecting the 2 weeks between the 13th and the 27th of January 2021. If you are interested in more in-depth talks about the astrology according to signs, I am now doing those on Fridays at 4 p.m. Pacific time, US and Canada, on my Patreon. You can follow the links below for more details there. And remember, if you are watching your rising sign horoscope, your rising sign is going to give you additional clarity as to how a great deal of your sun sign horoscope is showing up. And your moon sign horoscope is going to be giving you the parallel story that is also occurring this week. And if you ever want to get a session with me, you can go on ahead to my website, or 2 weeks, this 2 weeks, have it. And if you ever want to get a session with me, you can always go onto my website, integrativemysticism.com. So let's talk about what is going on here with this next 2 weeks, or the 2 weeks between the 13th and the 27th. So the prime influencer here is that new moon in Capricorn in your 9th house of higher education, expansion, spirituality, higher levels of consciousness, as well as, yes, travel, your connections to the global community, and philosophy. And this new moon is actually conjunct Pluto, the planet of transition and transformation. And it's a powerful awakening kind of energy for you Taurus people, especially when it comes to opening up the world for you. And a lot of you may be finding that when it comes to either your own spiritual path and practice, maybe opportunities for travel, or where you would like to live, where you would like to matriculate, if you're thinking about going to school for a higher education or pursuing a higher education, however you're going to do it, and maybe even what you would like to do when it comes to connecting to more people on a wider scale. This new moon conjunct Pluto is going to bring up an opportunity that will be overriding and overwriting an itinerary that you had been working with, possibly in maybe 2020, 2019, because a new moon conjunct Pluto is bringing you a breakthrough. It's bringing you a new path, a new opportunity, but it is going to displace something that maybe you have been working really hard to get off the ground. It's an unplanned for surprise, or possibly for those of you that are, actively working in the realm of precognition, you may have been expecting this. It may confirm a story or confirm a journey you've been planning on taking in these realms very, very soon. New moon conjunct Pluto may be actually supplying you with either the avenues, the abundance, or the connections to actually launch something that is going to effectively create a smaller world for you to play in. When I say smaller world, I mean shrinking distance. Opening up opportunities for travel later on in the year, absolutely. Maybe even big moves, again, connections in business abroad, or even allowing you to start expanding an existing enterprise you have by working with more connections abroad. That is actually a big part of this year for a lot of you Taurus people anyway, with that new moon conjunct Pluto setting it all off. When we get to the cards, well, let's talk about the cards really quickly. I want to let you guys know. The way this feels, the way I was actually setting them up, it's important to keep in mind that the things we're talking about may all occur in less time than a 14-day period. Some of you may go through this all in 9 days, 10 days, right? We're going very quantum. Some of these things may happen one after another as an evolving theme. Some of these things might be happening simultaneously to one another. What we're getting are basically the big events and the big stories of the 13th through the 27th, okay? Just a bit of a heads up there. So let's talk about what's going on with your personal themes, personal shifts, and what you are responsible for. Merge them all into one section. You start off with the Six of Cups in reverse, letting go of the past, letting go of old stories, and even letting go of things that maybe we keep trying to make work, or maybe even trying to go and recreate the past in any way, shape, or form. With the Six of Cups reversed, this is going to be a very unburdening period for you, especially in the first week of this 2-week period. But clearing the past also means not trying to keep getting back to the same place, getting back to the same story, getting back to something that you've already done. In fact, a lot of you Taurus people may be finding that with the help of that new moon, you're going to be finding a where you should be going next instead, or something completely different that is actually an upgrade or an update on what you thought you were working on, something that actually exceeds your expectations. The Six of Cups reverse is also talking about purging a great deal of things from your past that may have an unnecessary or disproportionate influence over your decisions now, especially when it comes to things that may actually inform our sense of practicality or even survival. Are there choices that we make that maybe keep us in one mentality, or are there happenings that occurred maybe in earlier stages of our life that are leaving an imprint that makes us feel compelled to always choose the green button over the yellow button or whatever? This is a time where you're getting a chance to switch a lot up, break a lot of routines, and end a lot of repetitive cycles that keep you stuck in time. This evolves into the Two of Cups upright. Brilliant energies when it comes to unions of all kinds throughout the course of this 2-week period. I think that yes, this will start to heighten as we get to the end of week 1 and beginning of week 2, but it does look like with the Two of Cups, a lot of you are going to be finding your companionship opportunities are expanding. You are starting to get much more close with the right people, whether they be collaborators, romantic partners, new romantic commitments, as well as sharing and blending and combining forces with people that are on the same, let's just say, mission, or living the same imperative as you when it comes to your craft, your work, how you are going to make your mark on the world, or how you are serving in the world. And with that assembly of these close one-on-one connections, now we are also connecting and deepening each and every individual relationship we have, getting away from the, old paradigm, lower realm, oh, I identify with the group, the community, the this, and getting into, no, I connect to him on a heart level, just like I connect to her on a heart level, and each relationship having as much depth and much uniqueness as applicable to that relationship versus, again, herd mentality or group mentality. And a lot of you Taurus people are going to be finding, well, even if you think you're pretty good at that, you don't know how deep it could actually get. So prepare for a very good surprise. When it comes to material shifts, your money, your work, your personal abundance, your professional aspirations, your financial aspirations, we start off with the Three of Swords upright, and it does look like there may be some heartache that comes around either a professional or financial matter that requires us to be able to make some difficult choices that might not necessarily be pleasing everybody. I do feel like some of you may be pushed into a situation either at work or, again, even in a household matter, where in the highest interest of all concerned, you may be disappointing others. Now, some of you may be doing this by choosing to relieve yourself of a certain responsibility. Some of you may be choosing to relieve yourself of a client or a customer, or some of you may be choosing to put in your 2 weeks or your 30 days notice, which may feel like a bit of a betrayal to a boss or a colleague, but you are going on to bigger and better things. You may also find that there is actually a breakthrough in a financial matter or a financial pursuit, but it does also stir up a lot of unsettled emotions when it comes to what we share with others in terms of space, resources, even property for some of you. So we're going to have to find a way to redraw some boundaries and work some things out, because it almost feels as though a lot of you Taurus people are experiencing some issues with the company that you keep in terms of space, in terms of who you are most frequently working with and around. That's going to need some remedying, and not everyone's going to be prepared to face that head on, even if it's ultimately necessary. This evolves, however, into the World card reversed, which is bringing you a chance to maybe start something or get a do-over with something that you never really got to actually fully experience. Now, it's not about going back and doing something the exact same way we did in the past, right? We're purging that. But it's getting a chance for you to take a road that never was fully opened to you. Now, whether this was something that maybe was kept down by somebody that was connected to us, right? A companion, a workforce, a living situation, or a financial obligation, an expense. The World card reversed is putting it back on the table for you to enjoy and get started the right way during this 2-week period as well. We just have to work through some of the hullabaloo of the Three of Swords so that we're not getting cheated out of it, or we're not having it pushed out of our lives by something that may actually be intentionally or unintentionally sabotaging or queering the deal. As we get on to relationships and love and romance, we start this off with the Lovers card upright, and a lot of you Taurus people are really going to have a beautiful 2 weeks when it comes to romance, because you're finding that you are getting connected or getting more deeply connected with either the right kind of relationship or the right kind of relationship styling, or possibly even the right kind of partner. The Lovers is giving me this very strong impression of being guided to be closer and closer and more consistently around somebody that is ultimately going to come into your life to do more and serve a higher purpose than just hook up with you or just play house with you, which is beautiful. And you may be finding that this is also what is evolving out of existing relationships that you are in. If you are in a partnership right now, we have a new win-win situation coming online for us to play with and see if that really, really works for us. But with the Lovers card, it's also important to keep in mind that, yes, this is something that is more than just what a lot of people look for in relationships. It's a lot more involved and a lot more multifaceted. So if we treat it like a typical dating scenario, or we immediately fall back into old relationship habits, you might be starting this off at a very steep uphill you don't need to. In fact, this evolves into the Nine of Swords upright when it comes to, how all of this positivity can sometimes bring up some shadows that need to be faced and to be cleared. And with the Nine of Swords, I think a lot of you Taurus people may be finding that, okay, there is some anxiety about, now that you're getting a taste of what you really love, what you really enjoy, what you really aspire to in your relationships, or you're finally making these strong connections, this does in some way distance you from a lot of the sensibilities that maybe even you have championed or that you have worked really hard on. And a lot of you may be pulling apart a lot of aspects of certain relationships or even entire relationship arrangements because they were built the wrong way or built under false pretenses. Partners too, we're kind of dismantling relationships because they're getting a chance to come out and actually be what they're supposed to be versus maybe something inauthentic. The Nine of Swords upright could bring some anxiety about this as well, because we have to be honest with where we have to face certain fears about coming clean, where we may have been, not necessarily coming clean like with a guilty conscience, but coming clean about dissatisfaction, and where that might not necessarily, it might not necessarily land well in all areas. Remember, everything can be talked out, and it's all in the interest of bringing people closer together, but keeping up illusions in order to function is not the way. So that is what I've got for you, Taurus. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And should you ever want to get a session with me, y'all go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com.